as a working photographer, and there are a number of us in the room that are commercial photographers, the fair use is a big cop-out because there are a lot of people that claim fair use for commercial use. And, well, I mean, it'll keep you in business.
Yeah, well, where you're stuck is the reality of, you know, big companies can claim take your information, take your photographs, and they'll claim fair use and they can outspend you, right? That's part of the issue. They will win in that litigation simply because they will outspend you. The other alternative is, you know, all these little people who are out there, you know, my kids who really hate the fact that I'm a nerdy lawyer, I'm saying, you really can't put that photo, you know, that doesn't belong to you. You can't post that on your Facebook, you know.
Everybody else does.
So, yeah.
I already got one.
Yeah.
Thank you. To further add gray, though, okay, somebody's using, and again, the Channel 9 example, that was their first response. Well, that's copyrighted material. And to a certain group of people, okay, that was an interesting discussion. But then on the journalism side of the business, who are people who are following this, they're saying, well, hold on a minute. You don't want this video to be shown, but then you will show traffic cam video of somebody getting flipped into the air when they were hit by a hit-and-run driver. You can't have it both ways. So there's unintended consequences to defending yourself, what your immediate response is.
And that's actually
where you make more
kind of a perfect segue into the last thing about what is an appropriate response to someone using that information. And I think they have a losing case because there are lots of reasons to comment on what happened to her with respect to that dog. If you're interested in animal welfare, for example, you have lots of reasons to talk about that. So I don't think that's, I don't want to get too much into the Channel 9 situation. But let's talk about how do you respond to someone, whether they're appropriating your information, your copyrights, or they're saying something negative about you. And you have a question.
Yeah, just if somebody takes an image and modifies it or uses part of an image, is that still protected?
It depends on how much they've modified it. You know, the great example, the Barack Obama poster, the Hope poster, you know, that was a big fair use litigation. That photograph, that was a photograph that had been heavily modified, but there was still enough of an issue there that it went through court. And my suggestion to you again is you don't want to be there. You don't want to be defending that. If you're in the business of creating parodies, and this is the example I use in an expanded version of this, you know, of creating parodies of other people's works, you probably have deeper pockets. And you can afford to take that on. You're in the business to promote your business. You're in social media to promote your business, not to be creating parodies or creating. If you're an artist, then maybe you do. You take that risk that I'm going to take this image and I'm going to create it and make something new and artistic, and I'll take the chance on a fair use defense. But let's move on up because we're running out of time. I want to run into specifically negative comments because this is something a lot of businesses are concerned about. The example I want to give you, your business, whether you like it or not, Google has you listed on Google Places. And people can go in and post reviews about you there. So here's the review. Someone's going to post about your company. It says, bad experience with this firm. Don't trust the fake reviews here. What are you going to do when that shows up on your Google Places? Well, if you're a Dallas law firm, you sue them. That's what happened to this Dallas law firm. Someone under an anonymous name put that review up on Google Places, and the law firm's immediate knee-jerk reaction was first to sue Google to find out who it was that put that up, and then to sue that person to correct or take down the review. All that did is bring them into disrepute. I can't even say the word. So I don't think the immediate reaction should always be to sue. Even though Elizabeth and I would love to take your money, I think you need to be a little bit more thoughtful than that. John, your please, what's that stand for? Or Mike, you guys have that in your blog post recently.
Yeah, you know, a lot of what Peter was talking about earlier. The purpose of the acronym is just to give you a means of coping with negative comments and dealing with it online. And if it's publicly acknowledged that you're here and you see the issue and you take ownership of it and then take it offline, and then let everybody see that you've done this.
So.
More of a marketing
Yeah,
standpoint than a legal
I think it
standpoint.
absolutely. I mean, I think negative comments, instead of inviting a lawsuit, should invite a conversation. And if the negative comment is coming from one of your competitors, if you can prove that, now you actually may have a lawsuit, and that's probably a serious situation. If your competitors are out there saying snarky things about you, they have definitely crossed the line, and you have a tort case against them. But your chances of you actually being able to prove that are pretty slim. You already got one.
Thank you. We actually let a lot of negative comments stand because if there's nothing but glowing reviews, then it feels fake for social media. So having a little bit of up and down actually helps you in the long run.
Yeah, and apparently, according to the data I've read, a lot of the false reviews out there are false positive reviews. That businesses are promoting themselves, they're hiring people to say great things about you. So yeah, seeing a little bit of balance may tell people that, hey, this might be for real. Yeah, wait, I'm gonna go way in the back. Can you, ready for a Kit Kat?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that you can, I'm a cricket player, so.
Yeah. It's like graduation. He can do that, right?
One of the things I feel that if you do have a negative review on your blog or your page, you can actually turn that into a positive event as well by essentially being positive in reacting to them or being responsive to them, and then actually taking it offline, like you said earlier. You make lemonade out of the lemons that you get over there. But I found that is more positive to get more business firsthand as well. I used to publish a magazine, and I have a comment about the photographers too. As a publisher, I don't think it's my responsibility to look at the copyright necessarily. It's the responsibility of my client who's publishing or who's advertising in my publication to actually make sure that the agreement with the photographer is basically allows them to do that. Don't you agree, or what do you think about that?
I think having an agreement that is clear about things solves so many problems. I tell people that what I really am, I'm in the communications business. I help people communicate effectively about their expectations, and if that happens 99 times out of 100, there will not be litigation. You know, you do run into crooks out there, but if people can understand what each other expects of a relationship, chances are that they will follow through and everything will be fine. You avoid the legal fees. If you've left something vague, something open, hoping that maybe you can get away with something, then all of a sudden you start getting into these areas where, well, I think you ought to compensate me for that. Well, no, I think I'm covered.
The burden, however, I think falls between the advertiser and the photographer as well.
No. Well, and I think what we're talking about is really social media, so we don't want to be involved in that burden at all. All right, I got one more category of negative comments. Is there something else about kind of customer comments? The other source of negative comments that people need to worry about in social media are things that your employees say about you. And this is actually probably the biggest issue in social media for business today, is how do you deal with your employees saying negative things about you? And if you've heard this presentation before, I get into a little bit more detail about the National Labor Relations Act, which protects every employee if you're involved in interstate commerce at all, which is pretty much every one of us. So you are governed by this law, which says that your employees have the right to engage in what's called protected concerted action, that they can complain to other employees about the working conditions with the idea that they can improve that. Well, the complaints nowadays tend to happen in social media. And so the issue is what's just a gripe, which is not protected, and which is protected concerted action. So if you see a negative comment by one of your employees on a Facebook page, or someone tells you that, oh, they're twittering saying what a jerk you are, you probably want to talk to a lawyer before you fire that person, just so you understand what the ramifications can be under the NLRA. It's still evolving. The first round of lawsuits haven't even made it through the system yet. So, like I said, 150 years from now, we'll all know. So, I think I'm running out of time. We're going to go into tips groups now. Is that about right? Okay. Yeah, sure.
Ask you, you've warned us about all these different things. Creators of original material, photographers, writers, whatever we do. and first thing I'm going to do when I'm violated is call you. But what can we do because of the fact that these things are online? We take screen captures. What can someone do to protect themselves right out of the gate because things are easily removed and forgotten and that type of thing?
Well, the first thing you need to do is, as John has said many times, is you need to monitor your material online. You need to monitor your brand to see what people are saying about you. You need to monitor your property if it's out there for sharing. My advice, though, has been if you're in business, if you're in social media to promote your business, you should probably be encouraging sharing, and I do that with my blog post. But if you're in the business as a photographer to create something that you can sell for money, you have a different agenda than most of the people in this room. So you need to be very cautious about copyright laws and making sure that you don't allow your rights to get away from.
How do you start the process of proving something has been?
Why don't we take that one offline? That'd be
cool.
Big way to go. Okay, I do have a couple more Kit Kats for questions later on. But we're going to move on to Mike's and talk about tip groups, right?
Thank you, Jim. Well done. Thank you very much. 95% of negative comments on Facebook pages go unanswered, on Facebook business pages. 88% of consumers who see that are less likely to do business with those companies. That has nothing to do with tip groups. We spent half an hour, we're running right on time. We spent half an hour talking about strategy. We'll spend 10 minutes breaking up into tips groups and coming away with something tangible that you can take back and use right away. So what we do for our newcomers is we break up, we'll get up, get the blood moving again, head to a different part of the room and talk about specific social networks. There will be a moderator in the tip group. That moderator's job is to do two things. One, keep the conversation focused and come out of this in less than 10 minutes with a tip that one of you is going to come out of the group, come up here, and share with the group. Okay?
Take out these things. Okay, good. Nervous, you don't say the whole, I get it. I'm Kevin Campbell, Kevin Campbell Films, doing the YouTube thing. For people interested in YouTube, you should download the YouTube Creator Playbook. Go to youtube.com, type in Creator Playbook, and it talks about everything you need to know about releasing your content on a schedule. So the tip of the day is come up with short content you can put out on a schedule that proves that you're the subject matter expert in your field, and consistently release that on your site, on YouTube, on your YouTube channel, and any other channels you might want to put it on online.
You just Google YouTube Creator Playbook. I'll let you come up.
YouTube Creator Playbook.
Well done. Fantastic.
I'm Peter Hodges, the Corporate Marketing Manager for Belco Credit Union, and the tip about Facebook is understand how to correctly run a promotion. So I'm sure you all agree that Facebook is becoming a big asset for your company, your business. And if you put a post up saying, please comment on this and you can win blank, technically you're violating their promotional guidelines. So the tip is there's a number of companies that have sprung up that offer quick and easy ways to create what's called an app. It becomes a tab on the left side of your Facebook page. It's plug and play. You put a couple graphics in. You walk someone through how to, in our case, it was a sweepstakes giveaway for tickets to the Colorado Garden and Home Show. It cost us $20, and we are now very comfortable that we did it correctly.
All right.
Good job.
I'm Patty Barcroft with Cherry Hills Community Church, and my tip today is about a mobile app. So using an iPad 2 and the app Notability, I can record a conversation or a meeting, take notes on it, take pictures, web clips, and go back to my notes and click on a place in my notes, and it'll take me back to the place in the recording as a reference point.
What was the name of the app?
Notability.
I'm Marty Coffey from Coffee Celtique, an internet but local-based importing company. And we had a group that was discussing Twitter. None of us are currently active on Twitter, but are trying to figure out how to do that. And the main things that we came out of this is figure out, what keywords you want to Twitter about, and be very, very specific about what you want to tweet about, because otherwise you get very overwhelmed by what comes in. You need to keep active with it. Probably need to respond to twits every day that come into you, questions and responses to things that you put out there. And be very specific about your descriptions about what you want to twit about. And if you don't do that, what you end up, which is what happened in my case, was I got on and started following people who were interested in whiskey things. It was one of the items that we import as a single malt Scotch whiskey glass. And I got a lot of whiskey people coming in and talking to me. And then when I didn't keep up with it, then I started getting a lot of people that just wanted to solicit my business to teach me how to use Twitter from all over the world. And it also became overwhelming because a lot of the whiskey stuff we got was from all over the world, and it just was not real specific to what we're doing here locally, and that became kind of a problem for us. So I think that was mainly it.
Yeah, nice job, Marty. There's a lot of suppressed laughter in the room right now about business needing to deal with twits every day, so go ahead and get that out.
Is it twit or tweet? I don't know.
Is it tweet? Oh, it's tweet. I like tweet.
But Marty, you're probably correct also.
I'm Susan Burton. I'm Director of Sales for ACT Conferencing, and we have a global presence. We're in 9 different countries. Myself and all of my counterparts were recruited from LinkedIn. So my tip would be, if you're out there looking or if you're actively pursuing any type of new opportunity, you can use LinkedIn twofold. First of all, make sure your profile is at 100%. When you build your profile, it'll tell you how much you need to add. Second of all, LinkedIn does have a very current and accurate job listing. Similar to Monster, you can go into their different job listings, look at them, and respond through LinkedIn. So it's twofold for the job hunters out there.
Well done. Very well. Thank you all very much, our presenters. And to send us off is John Hall.
So we're going to finish a little bit early today. There's 6 minutes left still. So our next meeting is going to be Friday, March 16th, and we're going to talk about social media's role in your search engine placement, how to utilize social media to score higher on your SEO. And on April 20th, we're going to talk about using video in your social media marketing. So everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. Enjoy.
Welcome, Joe.